Welcome to the ninth video of the lecture series Optimization using Excel. In this video, we will try to see how to formulate a transshipment problem and solve it using Excel solver. Transshipment problem is actually nothing very different from the transportation problem. So, I would highly recommend that the viewers who are watching this video should first uh, go to the transportation problem video, which is the 8th video, that is just the previous video. So please watch that one and then come back here. Otherwise there can be disturbances because of lack of understanding. So let us now discuss this problem. This is a transshipment problem. How is it different from transportation problem? Note very carefully that unlike the transportation problem where two types of nodes were there, one was your supply nodes and the other one was the demand nodes. Here three types of nodes are possible. One is your supply nodes, like the plants. These plants are your supply node. Then there are demand nodes also. These customer nodes are the demand nodes. But then you have some other information also. These warehouses, these two warehouses. So these are the third categories of nodes. These are called the transshipment nodes. So what is happening is, first of all, the material is moving from plant to warehouse and then from warehouse to customers. And as usual, this information is the per unit cost. For example, moving one unit from plant 1 to warehouse 1 costs you $4. Similarly, moving one unit from warehouse 1 to customer 2 costs you $4, and like that. And these are the capacities of what? Capacities of plant. So for example, 450 is the capacity of plant 1 and so on. And these are the demands. So for example, 400 is the demand of customer 4, 300 is the demand of customer 1, and so on. Now this problem is taken from this particular book. You can refer to this book. I have also given you the link in the description box. Now look at the network diagram of your transshipment problem. It is similar to the transportation problem, but little bit different, little more complex, in a sense that we have three types of nodes here. The central portion of the diagram is your transshipment nodes, and then there are demand nodes and capacity nodes. Capacities are written here, and the total capacity is 1430. Demands are written here, and the total demand is 1300 units. So there is a difference of 130 units, which is the excess capacity that remains in the system even after fulfilling the entire demand. Okay, so, and what is this X14, X15? This is the number of units that is transported from one node to another node. For example, X14 is the number of units that is transported from node 1 to node 4, that is plant 1 to warehouse 1. And of course Xij, as in case of transportation problem, here also these are the decision variables. decision variables. Similarly, these are the number of units that are flowing from warehouse to customers. Okay, so now we will try to write the linear programming in standard form itself. So this is the LP model. The objective is, of course, this is the objective. What is the objective? Objective is nothing but the total cost of shipment. Total cost of shipment. And how it is calculated? You see, these are the figures that are there in the square brackets are the per unit cost. So if you multiply this per unit cost with your decision variables, that gives you the total cost of a particular age, and then you sum it up to get the total cost. Exactly similar to the transportation problem. So now the first set of constraints are the capacity constraints. So for each supply node, there will be a capacity constraint. For example, this is for your plant 1, x14 plus x15. This must be 450. Another thing I want to tell you, note that this is a unbalanced problem, because 130 units of excess capacity is there. Total capacity is not equal to total demand, and therefore it is a unbalanced problem. So we are not trying to balance it by adding some dummy nodes here. We will solve it as it is, keeping it as unbalanced problem, because we are using software to solve the problem. So when we use Excel to solve this, we will enter this as unbalanced problem and then solve. So we don't have to use a dummy variable here, dummy demand center. That is not required, and so therefore we know that our total capacity will not be fully consumed, and so we will use the less than equal to type constraints in case of capacity constraints. So that is why x14 plus x15, that is the total units that are sent from plant 1, that should be less than or equal to 450, which is the capacity of plant 1, and similarly for the other two. Now another set of equation is your demand constraints, which are nothing but the customer demands. For example, in case of customer 1, see, these two edges are terminating here, which are your x46 and x56. So x46 plus x56 should be equal to 300, which is the demand of customer 1, and similarly this is for all other customer. You will use the equality constraints in case of demand constraints, because you have to fulfill the entire demand in this case. So up to this is very similar to your transportation problem. What is different here is the constraints for the transshipment nodes. What happens in case of transshipment nodes is flow in minus flow out should always be 0. That means whatever comes inside the transshipment node and whatever goes out of the transshipment nodes must be equal. So for example, for your warehouse 1, which is the node 4, you see the total that comes in is x14 plus x24 plus x34. This is the in, and what goes out is this one, x46 plus x47 plus x48 plus x49. This is out. This must be equal to 0. This is your transshipment node constraints, and this is true for this warehouse 2 also, which is written here. So three types of constraints are there: capacity constraints, demand constraints, and this is your transshipment constraint. And of course, there is a non-negativity constraint which has to be included in any case for any type of LP. Now let us see how to solve this problem using Excel. See here, first of all, you need to enter the data in this format. So what is the format? You see here, from plant to warehouse 1 and warehouse 2. These are the blank cells where you will find the optimal solution when you run the solver. And this is the shipment from warehouse to customer, and this will be populated here. Okay, so now let us and these are the costs. So exactly in the same format, like for 4785 and 56, here also 478556, and then 6484 and 3677, here also 6484 and 3677. So let us now first calculate these things. First of all, we will calculate the received. What is the total material that is received in the two warehouses? So just make a sum here, sum of this and then sum of this also. And if you do the sum here, this will give you the amount of material that is sent from the plants. Okay, and same thing, if you do the sum here, this will give you the total amount of material that has come out, flown out of these warehouses. And if you do this sum here, then it is the material that was sent or received, that was actually received by the customers. Okay, so another thing we have to do here is we have to take these two received entries here, that is the flow in. What is received in the warehouse is the flow in, inflow to the warehouse. So you do this sum here, take these two figures here. Why? Because we have to enter the constraints. That is why. You will understand when I do this. So then the cost, the total cost, which is the objective. So do the sum product of this and this will give you the cost of movement from the plants to the warehouse. Similarly, from the warehouse to the customer, do the sum, this sum product of this into this. See, the I am doing the sum products for the corresponding costs. So for example, this is the cost of movement from warehouse to the customers. So I am doing the sum products between these decision variables and these cost figures. Okay, so these are the two costs. Now I think there is some kind of problem here. Okay, I have written sum here, it will be sum product. Okay, and so if you do the total of these two, this is the total cost. This is the total cost, which is the objective function in our case. So now we have formulated the entire table. Now let us go to the solver. In the solver, you in the objective function, you will enter, of course, this one C21, which is the objective, which will be minimized. Then in the variable cell, you see there are two types of decision variables which are disjoint. What is disjoint? By disjoint, I mean that these decision variables are not cannot be selected together, like they are separated. So how to enter this in solver? You just enter the first one, then put a comma. I am repeating again. You just enter the first one, first block, then insert a comma, and then again select the second block. Then your entire thing will be entered in this decision variable block, and then add the constraints. Remember, there are three types of constraints. One is your sent units from the plants should be less than or equal to the capacity available to the plants. Add that. Then the demand constraints, that units received in customer end should be equal to the units demanded. Add that. And finally, we have the transshipment constraints. What are those? That is, the flow in should be equal to the flow out. In which nodes? The warehouse node. That means the transshipment node. So flow out should be equal to the flow in. Add. So this is the entire formulation. This is complete now. So go to the simplex LP and click on solve. So here you can see the problem is solved. This is the solution. What is the interpretation of the solution? It's quite simple. See, 450 units will be shipped from plant 1 to warehouse 1, and from plant 3 to warehouse 1 250 units, from plant 2 to warehouse 2 600 units. So that warehouse 1 will receive the total of 700 units, out of which 300 will be transported to the customer 1 and 400 units to customer 4, and then the total received by warehouse 2 is 600 units, out of which 300 will be sent to customer 1 and the other 300 to customer 3. This is the optimal solution. And what is the total cost of this optimal solution? 11,850 rupees or dollar, whatever it is. So this is how this problem can be solved using Excel solver. This is a simplest form of transshipment problem which can be solved in this way. And now we will go to the slide again, and I want to discuss with you a little complex form of transshipment where some more movements are possible. So let us move to the slides and close this here. So now that we have already solved the transshipment problem, we want to just extend the idea of this type of network models. Please note that in case of transshipment problems, the what I have discussed so far is simple flow, like from plant to warehouse and from warehouse to customer. So this is a simple flow, but sometimes the flow can be very complex also. Like for example, there can be flows in between the plants. For example, you note this particular table. These tick marks represents that there can be a possible flow. So for example, here from plant 1 to plant 2, some flow is possible. Again, from plant 2 to plant 1, some flow is possible. From warehouse 1 to warehouse 2, some flow is possible. In this case, situation becomes little complex. So earlier it was simple. It was like this, and this also. This was the situation, simple situation. Now things have changed little bit. How? In between flow is also possible. This is possible. This is also possible. This is possible. This is also possible. This is possible. This is also possible. Also this is possible. Also this one is also possible. Like that. So it is too much complex as it seems. Of course, these are the plants. This is warehouse, and these are the customers. And nodes are like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the node numbers. Node numbers. So, as it seems that it is very complex how to solve this type of problems, but it is actually much easier to solve. Just you have to implement this particular constraint for all the nodes. You take any node and you implement this constraint. What is the constraint? The constraint is the capacity that is there at the beginning. Means which capacity? The capacity given to you for each node. The amount of material that was pre-existing in that node. And what is the demand? Demand is the amount of material that was needed at the end of the flow. That was the demand figures. These will be given to you. These are given information. What is not given is the flow in and flow out. So how to calculate flow in and flow out? If you do the sum in this table horizontally, this becomes your flow out. And if you do it vertically, this becomes your flow in. For example, if you take the node warehouse 1, what is the node? Node number is 3. If you take the example of node number 3, so what is the flow out? Flow out is this one, this particular sum. What is this one? This plus this plus this. That means flow out is equal to what? X 3 4 plus x 3 5 plus x 3 6. And what is flow in? What is flow in? Flow is the this sum. So what is this? This plus this means x 1 3 plus x 2 3 plus x 4 3. So in this way, this will be here and this one will be here. Sorry, exactly opposite. This will be here and this will be here. If you enter this and capacity and demand and keep this greater than equal to, then it becomes universal constraint for every node, and you will figure out by your own that if you follow this particular procedure for transportation problem as well as for transshipment problems, like generic problem or the simplest form that I discussed earlier, even if you implement this particular equation or this particular constraint node wise for those problems also, then also you can solve. This is a generic constraint. So this is neither a capacity constraint nor it is a demand constraint, and it is not also not the transshipment constraint. So this particular form of constraint covers all. It can be capacity also, it can be demand also, it can be transshipment also. So in that way it is a generic form. So that was the thing I wanted to discuss here. So that's it for now. This is the content of this video, and in the next video we will discuss how to solve an assignment problem again using Excel. So until then, goodbye and thanks for listening.